Does using hydraulic fluid instead of automatic transmission fluid in your truck increase your gas mileage? That's what we're gonna find out. All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am currently bundled up because it is freezing out here in Texas, but we're gonna go ahead and take a drive over to PTS Fab today. Kind of a multi-purpose thing. First thing we're gonna do is go pick up some parts for the El Camino. Yes, we do still have this thing. So we're gonna pick up a couple of pieces for that puzzle, and because it's kind of far away, we're gonna take the Dodge. Ever since we got this, I've been wanting to do a video that shows the difference in gas mileage that you can get with just a transmission fluid change. So you may have heard about this or not. You can either run regular ATF, which the manufacturer recommends, but a lot of people run hydraulic fluid, like tractor fluid, stuff that you can get from like Tractor Supply or Orscheln's or something like that. There's all sorts of different kinds of tractor fluid brands. There's also all sorts of thicknesses of that fluid. And the thicker the fluid is, the tighter it tends to make the converter act, or the transmission act. And so what we're hoping to see with this is when you're going from regular transmission fluid over to a tractor fluid, are you gonna pick up any gas mileage from it? It's an easy way to pick up some gas mileage in a vehicle like this. Does it actually work? So we're gonna test it out. I will say that we use the tractor fluid a lot in our race cars. We have done a direct swap, no other changes except for going from ATF fluid over to hydraulic fluid, and we've picked up a couple of mile an hour, like 3 to 4. So it definitely does make a change, but I'm wondering if that change is gonna translate into gas mileage. All right, so it's about an hour and a half one way, so we'll have 3-hour total drive. We'll fill up right before we go, reset the trip meter, and then check it when we get back. All right, I just drove over to the gas station and filled completely up. So I'm gonna try to make this as consistent as possible, but it's not gonna be like exact. This is gonna be as close as I can get it to giving me an accurate gas mileage. So I'm filling all the way up. I'm gonna come back to this same gas pump and fill up the exact same way. I'm using the low setting. I'm putting it at the same angle so that hopefully it stops at around the same spot. Because like some gas pumps, they go faster than others, and they sit different ways, like in the actual inlet. And so I'm gonna try to be consistent on that part. This is gonna be give or take a little bit, but what I'm hoping is if there's any major difference, or if there's any difference to using the hydraulic fluid over the ATF fluid, that it's gonna be noticeable enough to be more than like 1 mile per gallon. Because this is gonna be this trip that I do when we come back and we see what the gas mileage is. I'm just gonna reset the trip meter right now. It's on a full tank. I'm gonna go there, come back, and when I come back, I'm gonna go into this same pump, fill up, and we're gonna see how many gallons it takes. And then I'm gonna, do some math with the mileage that we just drove and the amount of gallons that I consumed to get back to the same point. And that's gonna give us our gas mileage. And then we're gonna do the same thing after we swap the transmission fluid. All right, so we'll get this show on the road, I guess. All right guys, we're here at PTS Fab. I want to show you a couple of cars that they're working on that are getting ready to be done, as well as obviously pick up the parts for the El Camino. Let's go check it out. Holy crap, that thing is bright. Forgot my sunglasses. I couldn't look at that thing too long. Jesus. Remind me, Billy's car?
Oh, Gen 7 Big Block, Vortec, 8.1.
Weird. What turbo is it?
Gen 2 118.
118, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Nice. And then transmission. Is that one 2-speed?
2-speed 400.
400.
Nope.
And then on Holly, it'll be on methanol, no intercooler.
All the injectors, all the fuels.
That's
all
right. Same as his?
Yeah, same as Troy.
What's the brand of those injectors?
Double X Performance.
Double X Performance. There's a couple of them right now anyway, because what's that? Moran made some too. They look almost identical.
Some, and then what is that?
So like
performance injectors. Or
yeah.
whatever.
So Precision's patent ran out, so now everybody's
yeah,
making
pretty
them.
much.
Basically
they
copies.
Were like,
yeah.
haha.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that one hopefully both of those cars will be out at Lights Out in next month. What do you think about next month?
I have to have them both done next week.
Yeah, exactly. For us to have enough time. Well, I said in the video, I don't know if I'm lying or not, I was like, it looks like it's more apart than it actually is. Like, it's close to being done. Is it?
I mean, actually, to be totally honest, I think the hard part's kind of done. The housing takes the longest time.
You guys made the housing?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't even think. I mean, I don't know. I looked at it. I figured you guys were only doing the 4-link. Well, goddamn. No wonder. That's a lot to do. This and then the 4-link.
I mean, it could hold up, but at the same time, it was one of the weakest parts of the car. So if we were already doing shit, why not do it right?
2 hours later.
All right, guys, so I'm back at the gas station. Went ahead and filled up. It took, let's see, 8.91 on the first go through. 8.91 plus 0.6. I also added back in there because I was like, I can't believe it only took that much. And so I went and I tried adding more, but it only took a little bit over half a gallon. So we ended at 9.5, basically. 9.5 gallons is what we consumed. And we drove 171 miles. So 171 divided by 9.51. So that is just under 18 miles per gallon, so 17.9. I don't know, I guess I just didn't know what to expect. The 7.3 gets like around, 16 if I'm driving really, really conservative, unloaded, not towing anything on the highway. So, I mean, I guess it's right there in the range where it's supposed to be. I drove pretty average, like, pretty normal, what I always do. I only go about 65, 70 miles an hour. And I'll do the same thing when we do the fluid change. So I'm really, really curious to see if when we change the fluid and it tightens everything up, I mean, I'm curious what the RPM is going to be for the same speed. So going 70 mile an hour, it's like just below 2,000 RPM. When we change this fluid, is it gonna be, 100 RPM lower, 200 RPM lower? Really curious to see. So I'll do the fluid change this week and we will pick right back up where we left off.
1 week later.
All right, guys, week 2 of the gas mileage test. I went ahead and changed the transmission pan on this thing, got all the ATF out of there. All right, so the factory pan doesn't have a drain plug on it. So I figured if I was gonna drop the pan, I might as well replace it with a pan that does have a drain plug. So it'll make it harder for me to make an excuse not to regularly change the filter and keep an eye on the fluid. Plus we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff with the transmission, like adjustments, testing out how they, change the behavior of the transmission and whatnot. So it just makes sense to have a pan in there that has a drain plug. The added bonus to it is the ones that were out there on the market, there was like a double deep and there was a deep. So like, I think the one that I got is like twice the depth of the stock pan. And they had one that was actually triple the depth. I'm sure they have other ones out there as well, but this one that we got, the Mag High-Tech trans pan, it was a nice, affordable piece and looks like pretty good quality. I didn't see any bad reviews online or anything like that, so I think we'll be happy with it. No leaks, surprisingly, considering it was something that I did. We'll drive it around for a little while, get some heat in it, and then I'll just take a wrench to all the bolts in there because it was surprisingly, it was only like 16 foot-pounds of torque or something on them, so it felt like I was leaving them looser than they should be. So we'll check that in a little bit. This isn't a how-to channel, so if you're looking for a video of actually installing that pan, dude, it's as straightforward as it could possibly be. The downside, the only like hard part about it was, not trying to spill the fluid everywhere, taking that pan down with it full of fluid. It's like 6.5, or it's like 5 quarts or something that fit in that pan. And if that's all in there while you're taking that pan down, it's kind of a pain in the ass. So since I knew I was getting a new oil pan and I wasn't gonna have any need for that old one, I just drilled a hole in it. So like it drained all the fluid out. It was so much easier. Obviously you can't do that if you're just gonna be doing a regular fluid change and you're still gonna be using the stock pan, but I really would recommend getting one of those aftermarket pans that has a drain in it. Much easier. So just to make sure that we're as consistent as possible, we're gonna go ahead to the same exact gas station, same pump, fill it up the same exact way, go the same exact route to Nick's shop, and see how it does on gas on the by the time we get back. So real quick before we actually get started on the road, keep in mind the fluid that we changed out, we did not drain the converter. We only drained what was in the pan and everything that dripped down into the pan from sitting for a long time. It's probably about 5.5 quarts that came out, 6 and 7 quarts that went in, and it's of an ISO 68. So that's like the weight of the hydraulic fluid. You know, Hy-Gard is right around that range, but it's expensive. There's a lot of cheaper options, and so we went with a cheaper option. And but you can really use almost any, like from what we've seen doing the race car stuff, the brands and everything, it really doesn't make a difference at all. If you plan on keeping it in there for a really long period of time and not changing it out very often, then yeah, you probably want to go with something that is a good quality and is going to last you a long time. I know I'm going to change this fluid out pretty regularly just to see what the condition is of the transmission and, you know, try different fluids. So I just went with some cheap, you know, regular old tractor fluid from Orson's. So anyway, let's see how it does. Alright guys, we made it back to PTS Fab and everything went well. I'm gonna check the pan for leaks, probably put a wrench on each of the bolts just to make sure nothing loosened up when it heated the gasket up. So we're gonna go in and do our thing here. This will be all in a separate video. If you're interested in anything we got going on here, you guys can go check out the channel. A bunch of other racing videos and whatnot. This is definitely the oddball out sort of videos. All right guys, so we made it back to the original gas station that we filled up at, and we're gonna do the same exact thing. Fill it all the way up, same exact mileage, see if there's any difference. All right, so just finished filling it up. I did it twice just to make sure. So I like filled it up and then it stopped. And so then I tried filling it up again, so it would take a little bit more, but it stopped like pretty much immediately. So it definitely is full, just the same way we were doing before. And put in 8.065 gallons. And so that was with 173 miles on this one. And so 173 miles, we used 8.065 gallons. Did the math on that real quick. It's almost 21 and a half miles per gallon. So compared to the last one that we did at 18 miles per gallon, that's actually pretty surprising. I didn't think it was going to be that much. So yeah, in case anybody was wondering if tractor fluid actually does help as far as gas mileage goes, it looks like it really made a big difference. I drove exactly the same. We did the you know, making sure that we fill it up correctly, and yeah, that's what it yielded. That's not bad. I mean, like, it took me, I don't know, I think that was like a $45 bucket of hydraulic fluid, and we didn't even use it all. I mean, I only used technically like, I don't know, 2.5 gallons of it or something, or I don't know, whatever basically 7 quarts ends up coming out to be. It's basically how much we used of it. So I can still use that for other transmission fluid changes in the future. So yeah, overall, pretty inexpensive way to pick up, you know, a decent amount of miles per gallon. Like 3.5 miles per gallon is not a small amount. Like, that's a significant, you know, I was hoping that it wasn't going to be like half a mile per gallon or something like that difference, and so then, you know, you don't know if that's like margin of error of the test or not, but this is like 3.5 miles per gallon. That's what I would call significant enough to say it's a positive test. So hopefully this helped. If any of you guys out there want to give it a try, or if you have already tried in the past and you got different results, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, do all the normal stuff, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. I don't know if it's going to be another, you know, truck video or if it's going to be a racing video. We got 2 race cars that are getting ready to come out, so the truck might take the back seat for a little while we get those things ready for heading down to Georgia for lights out. Appreciate you guys watching. See you on the next one.